Hello and welcome to the video. I hope you enjoy. 3, 2, 1, let's begin. Hello everybody and welcome to Monday night D&D chat. What D&D chat Monday night? Whatever. It's Monday night. We're chatting D&D. Who's with me? Who is there? Who?
Hello.
Yep. So who are you? Yep. We've got Gabe and we've got Tib.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm blanking out. My brain's not working today.
It's okay. It's okay. Sweet. So basically, what this is about is we basically get a bunch of subjects together that we want to talk about and talk about them. So Tim, you said you've got some to talk about.
I've got some. What do you got? Sorry.
About my character currently, about Thaks.
Yeah. So
yes.
Yeah, kick us off with what you want to talk about. Yeah. So Thaks. So for those who are not watching the campaign, who's Thaks? Tell us about Thaks and go from there.
Thaks is my moon druid. And yeah, how long do we play till now? By now? I don't know. How long is this campaign actually going? It's one of the things
It's been going for a while, but obviously going a while.
I will look that up now. Discord timestamps are good.
Yes. To give someone some...
2021.
Nice.
Yeah. That I'm pretty much playing since 10 months by now. Or more.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought it was 20 for some reason.
What? 2021. Yes. That's and I wanted to talk about some topics that in the campaign we got a bit into them, and in the other talks we talked a bit more about it, but still not much. That's why I wanted to address them. For example, where he actually comes from. One of the parts that I think are interesting always for characters. For example, for this character, Thaks comes from a small fishing town and actually grew up as the son of a fisherman. And that's actually one of the parts where I'm still not sure about how actually this town will play out, because it's mainly a fishing town, but also a port town. And what I see about the town is named Seabreeze, and what I see about it is that it is pretty much a town that is. It has a smaller criminal underbody, where you have like smugglings, or even probably it is used as a port for piracy.
I see.
Where pirated goods are sold. Yes, that was the idea by now.
Yeah.
And so how the story of Thaks goes in this town, he actually meets a group of adventurers, which are 2 halflings and a tiefling.
Yeah.
The 2 halflings are the two of the Deepwood family. Have we actually talked on stream about the Deepwood family?
No, but again, that's another subject we can talk about on stream, so
yeah.
that'd be cool too.
Okay, we will do that later.
Yeah.
Because
so stick with Thaks and his story for now.
And a Lucia, a tiefling tempest cleric that has trained with the mist monks.
Yeah.
Also a topic we will cover probably later.
Yeah, we've got lots of topics to cover. So
yeah.
That's cool.
And he goes adventuring with them. Tak at this point is actually a fighter. He has his longsword and his chainmail, and actually goes out to adventure. And the party starts off as the most parties with just killing goblins and finding goblin camps, protecting envoys and such stuff. They do that for a while, for some years even. But they are not as not skilled adventurers. They are okayish adventurers, but not really skilled in what they do.
Yeah.
And they, after, I think I said it were 3 years, but I'm not quite sure with the timeline there, but it is after some years, they get a quest for delivering a package.
Yeah.
The delivery goes, they are set, they should deliver it through the woods. Oh God, I know we have a name for them, but I think the Evergreen Woods, right?
Yeah. The Evergreen Woods is the giant forest down
Yeah.
in the south, yeah. Southeast, southwest. Yeah.
Yeah. And on the trail they are ambushed by werewolves. Most parties at that point have magical weapons. They didn't. Which leads to a bloody fight, which ends in the two halflings being killed.
I can bring up a picture. Add a picture to this image. Create a map. Map. So we can show what we're on about. Of Falkirk. Because that's the continent that you're talking about. So that's
Thanks
cool.
for them. Yes.
Get it up on here. Pictures, D&D, Falkirk, yes.
So, after a time in the fight, and the two halflings actually, well, dying,
Yeah.
and they get Tak and Lucia, who are the two remaining, actually get rescued by a moon druid.
Because this is the one with. So this is the updated map, so you can see Seabreeze there.
Yeah. And actually the Evergreen Woods.
And the Evergreen Wood is over here. This is the location. We've got unknown locations on all 4 of these because we haven't got there yet. Yep. And they are so the Deepwoods. So the Halflings underground empire is around here, but it's not marked on any map because it's underground.
It is actually not underground, but it is probably not marked on maps.
Yeah, but it's somewhere between this location here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got the Evergreen there, then you've got the unknown location to the east, and then between that unknown location and the mountains over where Cross is, in that green in the open over there, it's. Do you want to explain? Do you want to say about them or?
I think we can cover that later because there are some topics I want to convey before.
Yeah, keep going.
So, they get rescued by a orc moon druid, Hirar, who actually rescues them from a pack of werewolves they got ambushed by. This loss in the party leads to actually, after they get patched up and they live, they stay there for a time. till Lucia goes away.
Yeah.
While Tak tries to better his skills and actually stays with the druids and learns there how to explore in the woods and so on. And this part in life leads to him putting away his weapons, like his longsword, and taking on new weapons that are better to fight in woodlands. So that's where his scimitar comes from, and why he actually wears non-metal armor right now, because it is a thing in druid that druids do, because for example, the spells that druids get is one of them is actually heat metal, and it is not a good. You don't want to wear metal if you know that there is a spell that people in your surrounding probably have, because you're a druid from a druid circle, that heats metal. So that's actually why most druids wear, for example, bark armor or leather armor.
That's true.
And he stays there and actually trains to become a moon druid. Given his that's actually the place why he is actually, even though he was a fighter before, he has proficiency in survival and not or he has actually athletics, but why his skills change at this point. After a couple of years actually with the druids, he leaves them, having completed his initiation. And he tries to get a more comfortable life, a more peaceful life than what he has lived through by now. Having being a fisherman's son and a fisherman that fishes for bigger things than normal. So yeah, monsters. Not monsters, but giant crabs and whales and so on. And being a fighter and adventurer afterwards, which leads to him wanting a more peaceful life. And he settles down in a small town that is actually so small we actually didn't put it on the map, because it is a small village. I think we call it Tiny Town. And given the name, he becomes a what is it actually? What's the name actually? For the profession. What?
The name of what? The town or?
No, the profession. I have to look something up.
Okay.
Oh, a beekeeper. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, he becomes a beekeeper for a while. And which is actually a funny part in his life, because he has still his druid skills, which leads to actually him talking to the bees and talking to animals that go around in the plains around Honeytown.
Yeah.
And it's just like he is the person like at the edge of town which has his bees and is there and sells honey to nearly everyone. And after again a couple of years, which he actually lives peaceful, he is just like, okay, that was nice. Let's go on an adventure again. Where he actually leaves and goes to the Solar Empire, the Sun Elf Empire. And becomes a fighter in the arena. Given that Tak at this point is older and rusted in adventuring and fighting,
Yeah.
he actually starts off with his first fight being, well, being knocked out, and but he actually wins a couple of a bunch of fights later on, and the rest is the campaign. That's basically the story of Thak till this point. Yeah.
Nice.
Any questions in depth? Should I go in depth on some points? What do you think?
I think you've covered most of it. Sounds good though. A lot of still unknowns, which is always good to have, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the Halfling Empire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere, around it, plains, wheat fields, a couple of farms, a house, a giant wooden building rises in front of you. And as you come closer, you hear chatting and other sounds that you wouldn't expect from a single building,
Well,
because
from
it
what I
feels
remember,
more like a
it's
city.
on top of a hill,
Yeah.
overlooking like a crossroads, like of like two paths that two dirt paths, you know, just out in the like it's like footpaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you enter, you're greeted by, you don't know how many, but a couple dozen halflings.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the Deepwood family, better known, more like their home base or their home.
So you'll probably be surrounded by the youngers.
Yeah.
Which are like kids and young ones. Yeah.
Yeah. The Deepwood home is a giant wooden building that every time the family grows bigger, it actually gets built higher and into like every part. They get a room in every part they can. They get one in,
Yeah.
and it's like you have like overhangs and so on, and it is just this giant building. Yes. The lower part is actually a tavern.
Yeah. It's quite fun because it's like the lower part's a tavern, but then there's also they've built like you said, like they've built up rather than out.
Yeah.
And there's like bits like it's, and then there's like a windmill part in it, like that helps them like grind they make like flour from that.
Yeah.
So it's a full community house, you know, so they can make bread and food and whatever, all within this house. You know? So literally, all you see usually is like deliveries get delivered by unknown people. You know, usually by horse and cart with hooded people coming in and going. And then like out comes like freshly made breads and all sorts of things like that. Yeah.
But they actually also grow their own wheat and so on.
Exactly, they grow their own wheat and stuff, but the bread has surprises in it, you know. So they make bread, and then obviously they put like hidden weapons in there. Or
sometimes not. You can actually order normal food from there.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It is a community house, and they are all a bit shady, and it is a it is a known secret that the Deepwood family, if you want something done without question, you go there. And that's a known secret. And most often it's actually people also stay there just overnight because it's main travel route.
Exactly. So it was originally a tavern you know. So it is a tavern. So yeah.
And this halfling family just grew and grew, and they actually got into the spying and assassination business.
Yeah.
Which actually led to them spreading all over the continent.
Yep.
And that is just where the most of them are.
Well,
but you find them in every corner of the world.
Their home house, that's where it is known to go and contact them. That's their front and contact is this tavern / bakery.
And pretty much everything, because it has like bureaus in it.
Yeah.
And actually the finance office of the Deepwood family.
Yeah. Well, it's the
Which
home
is-
base, isn't it? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what this house is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is pretty much also an inn.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the Deepwood home. There's
Yeah.
so much more in it, but it's just like this giant building, and some say it has a big cellar, like like catacombs actually.
What?
That goes quite deep.
Yeah. Well, there's all a whole underground networks from it. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, the cool thing is you'll be playing one of their members, aren't you? In the next coming up game. So that'd be cool. So we can explore more from that. So that'd be cool. So the outlaw game. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Hooray!
It's gonna be good. Yeah. So that's the upcoming campaign that we're gonna. So we're gonna finish the campaign that we're playing now, campaign 6, and then we'll wrap that up with with your characters up in they've basically made it to the peak to the keep up in the mountains, and then we're gonna bookmark them there, and then we're gonna go off and do a new campaign. And it's going to be based around the outlaws and on the fringe of society, and we'll get into that obviously on Friday. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, that's some history with the Deepwood family, so that's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Is there
having explored the origin of 3 or 4 of this older party, I would say, characters?
Yeah, well, you can mention some of them now. Yeah.
Yeah. We have actually mentioned 2 of them because they're 2 Deepwoods, and that's pretty much what they are. Oh, one is a bard. The other, one is a male halfling bard. Was.
Yeah.
And the other was a female halfling rogue, which were like I think they were. They are probably siblings. Halflings are funny because they multiply actually fast.
Yeah.
Which is like a thing in the Deepwood family, that they are just, most of them are just sisters or cousins and so on. And
well, they're
it's
obviously
like this,
it's all part of the same family.
Yeah, and this is the same family, and they have this huge network around.
Yeah, as a tradition as well. When the females get married, they still keep their name. So they make their husbands outside the family take the Deepwood family name. So yeah. But yeah, so
that's how halflings
that's
work.
a thing. Yeah. Yes.
Hello.
So, Gabe, have you got anything on your to talk about list?
I was going to talk about monsters, but that seems to be going out the window.
Well, no, because we got to it now. So, if you want to talk monsters, we can talk monsters.
Okay. I'm talking about monsters what can be used as basically allies, basically.
Okay, so allied monsters. Okay, so take it away.
The first one is let's go with the good and oldie, the Shield Guardian.
Oh yeah. That one is fun
Yeah.
because it absorbs. So, should I explain the Shield Guardian first?
I can explain it.
Okay.
The Shield Guardian is a construct which has no that way to make it properly in the game.
A construct
yet.
with no construct.
No. Yes.
Okay.
That there is a way to make the thing we can control to control it. Don't ask me why that there's a way to make a master amulet, what is used to control it, and
Is
not
it like,
the construct itself.
So like a spirit armor, or
It is a golem-like creation, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
That serves only the purpose to protect its master. The master of the Shield Guardian is actually the person who wears the amulet,
Mm-hmm.
the Shield Guardian amulet.
Which can lead to the amulet being stolen in mid-combat if you really wanted to go details.
Yeah.
So if you're still the amulet, the guardian goes with the amulet, not the.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
that'd be hilarious.
Yep.
I have actually seen that in a campaign.
Have you? What was the scenario? What happened?
They wear shout out to I actually like them. Explorers Pack. It's a German campaign.
Nice.
It's online.
Yeah.
It's a video, and they have this combat against a slave trader in his town, and against who regulates all the slave trade in this town, and the combat starts with them. So they actually try to convince him that they are actually slave traders, which does not work well, which leads to combat starting. And as combat starts, a shield guardian jumps out of the I think it was a closet or something, or shelf, and fights against them. And within the campaign, within this combat, it actually leads to the rogue stealing the amulet from the slave trader and putting it on, which leads to the shield guardian fighting for them and not him. It is a pretty hilarious scenario. And that's why the shield guardian is so fun, because it can.
It is also. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to continue. Sorry if I interrupted you.
No.
It also can regenerate. So basically, if you after combat's over, it's going to recover all its HP. And it has spell storing. So like basically a ring of spell storing, but for only one spell up to level 4.
Cool.
It's one of the most sought after things by wizards, and people who can create them are known to be very rare. So it's very hard to.
So basically, it's a wizard meat shield.
Yes, it's basically wizard meat shield. Also gives you a +2 to AC if you're 5 feet in front of it as a reaction.
Cool.
So, yep. The next thing I want to talk about was Invisible Stalker. If you're familiar with that. If you don't know, in lore anyway, or if your DM finds a useful way for them, you can actually summon these things and bound them to you. You have to do certain conditions for them to work, or else they are instantly freed. They are air elementals bound to a person to do a mission. It's not they don't want to do the mission, but they're forced to, basically. I'm not explaining this very well, am I?
It's alright. Just read the description of the monsters. It's fine.
Invisible Stalker is an air elemental that has been summoned from its native plane and transformed by powerful magic. Its sole purpose is to hunt down creatures and retrieve objects for its summoner. Mm-hmm. When it's defeated, the thing expires. If it's not used in specific tasks such as recovering an object, hunting down someone, and slaying a specific creature, or murdering. Basically, murder or retrieving an object. You cannot do anything else, or else it frees it. The object is also constantly invisible. The creature is also constantly invisible, and even with seen visibility, it only comes out.
So it's like a slightly more useful hidden servant, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But so basically, it's the most. It'll take the most direct route usually. But here's the thing: Visible Stalker is unwilling servant at best. So whatever, if the DM could think of something worse about than an unwilling servant, that's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it used and like in murder mysteries and stuff.
Mm.
Because like in Summon Elemental is like the Invisible Stalker is like the perfect crime.
Yeah.
I've seen it used in some campaigns as like a patrol thing, and as soon as the people are on, it murders them.
Mm.
Not with the players, of course, with usually cultists or something like that.
Mm.
That's the Invisible Stalker. Next is one of the weirdest creatures I've ever encountered in D&D. The Flumph.
The what?
The Flumph.
Flumph.
What was
Okay.
it? Dungeon Rule 3 or something? Always trust a flump.
Yes.
Which one was it? There is actually, isn't there actually a
Flumps are adorable not adorable. What's the best way to describe them?
Aberration.
Aberration, yeah. Small aberration with tentacles all over it.
Oh,
But they're
abomination.
they're always good. They're like the nicest creatures ever. They just feed off psychic energy.
Okay.
And will tell you what.
they are one of the few actually creatures in the monsters manual that are lawful good.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're always nice. Like always. There's no exceptions. I've seen no one portray them as evil because they're not really strong. Have you seen any of them portrayed as evil?
No, but I can imagine a flump to actually like a corrupted flump, which is actually, it looks the same as a flump, and it would be a good thing to against a actually party that knows a lot about D&D, because a flump that is actually not good is such a evil way to actually just get caught uh, to catch somebody off guard,
Yeah.
because flumps are always good. It's like one of the dungeon adventuring rules in D&D actually, and so on, and that's why a flump is as a servant of, for example, an evil mage who just lures people into traps is actually an interesting idea.
Yeah.
I know they are CR. What are they?
1A.
CR 1/8, and they are really not strong. But it is an interesting trap or interesting enemy to have somebody lure people into traps with flumps in dungeons,
Yeah,
because they typically actually show you the best way.
flumps are like the caretakers of D&D. There's no one messes with the flumps.
Okay.
Except for Tim because he's crazy.
I'm not crazy. I'm just trying to get a interesting encounter out of this.
Nice.
I've seen him used in a campaign I watched called Unexpectables to a great degree. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's also
They are
terrifying.
hilarious.
Or they can be terrifying in a way where it's terrifying while not making the flumps terrifying. So that was interesting.
They are the only lawful good aberration in D&D. Oh god, I think that's hilarious because aberrations are in D&D like nearly always evil, so Flumps are one of the exceptions. Are there actually any other good? Let's see. Nope. The Flump is the only good aligned. Or let's see.
Aberration.
It looks like a kind of like a jellyfish with like eye tentacles and tentacles.
Yes.
And a big mouth.
Yeah. It is pretty much that. It's just a floating jellyfish.
Yeah.
That is
It looks
pretty nice to
hilarious.
do. Yeah.
I've seen them use some like I just want to talk about this. Okay.
These are the flumps. There you go. Just show in the chat. Yeah.
Next. Have you guys heard of the Helm Horror?
So just quickly, go back to the other two. What was the other two before? So unseen,
Invisible Stalkers and Shield Guardians.
Shield Guardian. Okay, we'll just quickly have a look at that. Looks like a giant automaton. There you go. And then what was the other one? Invisible
Stalker.
Stalker. Okay, so that's that. Yeah. Looks gruesome. Cool. On to the next one. What are you talking about now?
The Helm Horror. Basically the upgraded version of animated objects.
Yeah, it's pretty much a
Helm
stronger animated
Horror.
armor.
Except it's intelligence.
Yeah.
And it has a magical purpose. And it has tactical cunning. It's basically, if you really wanted to, you could make basically a hunter who doesn't need to eat, sleep, or drink. It can be immune to 3 spells like heat metal,
Nice,
fireball, and lightning
I think
bolt.
hilarious about the spell immunity is that it can technically be immune against a wish spell.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you only go to the level. Oh no, three spells.
No.
Never mind.
You can technically take any spell, which lets you customize it so hard if you're a DM and you really want to get a good hunter on your players. You just choose the 3 most often used spells of the group, and that's what you take.
The tailor-made bad guy for you, like hunter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can make
Just have a
several.
bad guy who knows who's been watching you, like, huh?
Or you can make several
I'm
of them.
Which is
Yeah.
tailor-made to kill you.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
And it's actually, oh god, this thing is immune to force damage?
Yeah, it's immune to force damage, necrotic, and poison.
Petrified, paralyzed, frightened, deafened, charmed, and blinded. It's all immunities. Yeah. Stunned. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are a few things.
It
5
understands
monsters.
the languages of its creator, but it cannot speak. Makes sense.
There are 5 monsters.
Has damage
in
resistance
D&D.
to magic. What?
There are 5 monsters in D&D actually that have a force damage immunity. Only 5.
This thing also has damage resistance to poisons, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks that aren't antimantium. So basically, anything non-magical will not.
Spell immunity is nice. You should just...
Not really.
Yeah.
Okay.
That thing is pretty much the horror for any group.
Well, it's a good like frontline horror, you know. So you'll have them up in front when you've got your big bad, like dealing with some of the party. Then you've got some horrors in front.
A good thing. That is a good meat shield for a wizard.
That's what I'm saying.
Bad guy.
Yeah.
Because he can actually give him immunity, for example, for fireball.
Yeah.
And then this guy stands in front of you. The
Nice.
wizard casts fireball.
I'll cast fireball
doesn't.
on him. Yeah. And then everything
Yeah.
around him explodes. Yeah.
Or
Interesting.
spells that are actually centered on a point. Wait a second.
Chain lightning.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, it casts blindside actually also.
Yep.
Yes. Interesting. Very cool. Yeah. Can use. Yeah.
Yeah.
As a
That thing
passive
is actually
effect
good.
for
Yeah.
14.
Okie dokie. What do we got next?
Okay, Spectator.
Spectator.
This is the only one which you can create only if you kill a beholder.
An
So that's
aberration.
probably why
Okay.
it's not used.
Lawful neutral.
In campaigns, it's used a lot by other people, but by people themselves, no.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Often seen as a trash mob in a beholder's lair, actually, for me,
Okay.
because they're just a smaller,
A
not
lower
as
version of
dangerous
it, yeah.
beholder, with their CR actually being 3.
Nice.
Yes, but you can actually create them by summoning them. By
I know.
sacrificing ice stocks.
Well, Beholder will probably summon these as minions, isn't it?
Mm.
Cool.
And they get into 100 years of service to you. Basically, you can use them as guardians for your treasure.
Mm.
Better than nothing, right?
It's true.
I thought it was an interesting thing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not very
Those are
for
actually
sale,
good
but-
monsters for a DM, for example. And the thing about them is that if you have a beholder fight, that is a good build up in its layer because it actually shows you some of the abilities, not all, but some of the abilities that the beholder actually has are shown in this monster.
Yeah.
For example, how the eye rays work and so on.
Yeah.
And that they are immune to the prone condition, which is funny.
Yeah.
Next topic, I guess.
I was just going to go over the topics we've spoken about already. So, Thaks Backstory. We've also talked about the Deepwoods. Deepwoods. And then we've talked about monsters.
Helping monsters, basically.
Can you send me the list of monsters that you've got? Okay.
I got one more group of monsters to talk about. I wanted to say.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going. Don't worry. But
Shield guard. Should I do it in deep chat? Should I do it in DnD Monday chat or no?
Yes, please. Yeah. Pop it in there. So basically, when I pop it on YouTube, I can just go, yep, this is what we've spoken about. These are the topics. Yes. Trying to keep it somewhat organized from the start. What? I know. But yes.
Lump. Helm Horror. Spectator. And that should be everything. Hello?
Yeah. Okay.
And next is the Yugoloths.
Oh god.
You can make deals with them. Do you want to make a deal? You know what they do. You know
Yeah.
their contracts, right?
Mm.
They could either be the DM's ally or the everyone else's
How are you
ally.
spelling that?
Yugoloths. What?
What is it?
Yugoloths. There's multiple of them.
Yeah, but how are you spelling that?
I don't know if you can find. They're in the monster manual.
Yeah,
and
no,
morning.
yeah. It's how do you spell it?
YUG
There you go. UG. Okay,
OLOTH.
got it. Cool. It's the crocodile-looking thing with tentacles and eyes on the tentacles.
That's
Which
one.
one is that actually?
That's one Yugoloth. They're an entire demon race.
Fair enough. Fiends, are they? Oh wow! Look at them all. Yeah.
That's the Ultraloth you have. Yeah.
One of the strongest Yugoloths. Hooray!
Isn't it the strongest common variant? Like
Yes.
common one?
Okay. Cool. So lots of so
I think it's funny that
fiends.
that the strongest, what was it? The strongest devil, the Pit Fiend, has CR20, and
Yeah.
the strongest demon has, I think, CR19.
Yeah.
Or CR21, I'm not sure. And then you have the strongest Yugoloth, which has CR13, which is like way lower.
Yagnoloth. Cool.
It's called Yugoloth.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just press the pronunciation thing. So yeah.
Yagnoloth.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. And there's a whole bunch of them, and you can
They're
pretty much
basically
just make,
contractors. They'll make deals with anyone.
Well, yeah. Is that
at the right price.
is that fiends or is that demons?
They are fiends. They are the third type of fiends, because the alignment system demands in D&D that because you have lawful evil devils and chaotic evil demons, you have need something in the middle, and that's Yugoloths, which are neutral evil.
Ah, I see.
Pretty much.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool. So Yugoloths are middle evil. middle evil, yeah. Neutral evil, yeah.
They're also known as the ones that will murder you if you have a contract for a hit on you. Some even Morden Kanan sometimes offers deals to Yugoloths.
Mesoloth. Okay.
That's one of the lower ones. Those are like the armies of the Yugoloths.
Yeah.
They're just, if you want to storm a castle and you have no army, but you have a bunch of money or other things, you can deal with them, trade with them. That's what you need.
You get a whole bunch of deals from Mesoloth. They'll all get the reward though. You signed the contract.
Yeah.
This is the army you get. You get an army of these things if you make enough deals.
Yeah. Or you make a deal with an Ultraloth and you get some of them free.
Ultraloth.
Cool. Then you've got a bit weird goat man.
Oinoloth.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that one.
You got like
Nikoloth.
Okay. We've got
Mesoloth.
Okay. We've got what is this?
Morenoloth.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them, and everyone is pretty much for another task. Or yeah.
Durgaloth.
They even have multiple Yugoloths. They're basically the people who try to take down entire. You can make a contract with them to take down an entire kingdom if you really wanted it.
Canoloth.
And you have to write things to trade with them.
Arcanoloth.
Like
Arcanoloth.
souls.
Arcanoloth.
Pretty much.
Okay, then the
Arcanoloth.
wizard ones. Okay, that's
Yep.
awesome. Spellcasters. Nice.
Like the second strongest one in the just standard.
Arcanoloth.
Arcanoloth. Okay, cool. So you go. So Yugoloths. Okay.
They can be used very interestingly
Yeah.
if you know how to use them properly.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's always good to have. Some of them are foot soldiers. Some of them are higher bosses. Yeah. If you want to do campaigns set in hells or whatever, or dealing with monsters from hell, you know.
Hi.
We're just doing we're doing a stream right now.
Okay.
Talking about D&D monsters.
Ah, I see.
So right now we're talking about Yugoloths.
You mean the slime demons?
No, Yugoloths.
Isn't that a slime demon?
No,
Like
so
the
it's a class of demons as opposed to.
Oh yeah, Yugoloth. Let me think.
Yep.
Yeah, Yugoloth. It's the one with the I can't fucking remember its face.
Yeah. Anyway, so cool. These are like neutral evil demons.
What do they look like again?
There's a whole bunch of different ones. So there's like
So-
the fox looking ones.
Oh,
with
you mean
casters.
you're talking about the loths in general, not Yugoloth specifically. Okay. I like the loths. They're an interesting bunch. They all suit a role within their society.
Exactly. So cool. Okay, Gabe. So that's awesome. What else have we got on your list?
well, we've got a demon thing I've never undead. I don't really hear talked about. It's
Oh.
basically one of the ways a lich when you fail to become a phylactery.
Oh,
Anyway.
how are they called? The claw.
Boneclaw.
Boneclaws, okay.
right?
Is that what it's called? Is it?
Yes,
Yep.
I love a good bone claw, especially to, you know,
Claw.
fuck the party.
Oh. Large undead. Fair enough. Chaotic evil. Okay.
I think they have somewhere around 130 HP.
Yeah. And they can't die unless you find out who their master is.
That.
Yep.
130. Yeah. 127 HP. Okay. Immune to paralyzed and frightened and poisoned and exhausted and charmed. Okay.
Doctor can't join the chat for some reason.
What's that?
And read Nosher's note what he sent us.
For some reason, I can't open voice chat. I can open it in every other section of the server, but
I
not.
believe
Monday
bone claws are
Talks.
sentient, which you could do some serious, interesting stuff with a bone claw.
Yep. That's why we're talking about them today.
Hmm.
We're trying to see we're trying to see what some interesting ways we could do it and just talk about them.
Well, that's what D&D Monday Talks is. I'm talking about D&D.
Bone claw being its own master, therefore you can't ever kill it. Because it can't die unless its master's dead. Oh wait, no, never mind. That wouldn't work. A bone claw master to a bone claw, you'd have to kill both of them.
I would say it would be fun to have two bone claws that are each the master of the
Yeah.
other, which leads
can't-
to actually having to get them in the same place to kill both,
Yeah,
which
you'd have to kill
would be
both.
at the same time a hilarious and a terrifying encounter because you're
Oh, yeah.
fighting two bone claws.
Yo, have you ever been grappled by like 7 different arms? I hope you enjoy it.
God.
Everybody got at least one finger on you, bro. You're grappled.
Bone claws you can use them as like a murder mystery, like have someone like like with the invisible stalker, except they don't go away. They just keep coming back.
Yep. Just keep snatching people and keep leaving.
Yep. There is no escape. But the only downside is it funnels off your subconscious, and people who usually have bound calls are not very good.
Yeah.
So
It would be fun to have somebody just I once had a friend with the idea what if you do a good or neutral aligned lich that essentially runs
that's
What?
actually in the campaign I'm going written camp module I found.
Nice. And the idea is pretty much what if a lich just decides to, I'm funding I'm funding not only a city but an entire like state, and then that are essentially workers for us, and people that are convicted to death. That's what this lich actually feeds on for a phylactery, which would actually be fun to have like a lich who's just like a ruler of a country.
You
And
know?
is actually chill, dude.
Oh yeah, that would be great, except for, yo, you're a fucking lich. Paladins go crazy.
You would not. You'd be a paladin in a cleric-free country.
Well, most paladins and clerics don't give a shit if you're good or not. If you're doing good, you're undead. Die.
Depends, actually.
Yeah.
It does depend on which god, but most of them are like that. Most zealous.
Yeah. What I think is fun if you have actually clerics without a god.
Yeah.
That
totally works.
There's one idea I found, the cleric of friendship idea. You have a party made up entirely out of clerics, and they don't serve a god, but their friendship, which actually, and the stronger the others grow, the stronger they grow, which is a hilarious idea, I think, because it's like this group which is actually just built on the fact that they each like each other so much that they get magical powers from it.
The power of friendship, basically.
Yeah, it's the power of friendship, but with cleric levels. Oh god. I like that idea.
Cool.
Yo, full party of clerics, let's do it.
The Amen. Completely.
It doesn't
Also,
even have
the
to be
way-
that friendship one. Just full party of clerics. Broken.
That's the idea of the group called. There are some group ideas for parties that have actually names, and one of them is the Amen, which is a party entirely made out of clerics of different subclasses.
Yeah.
That actually work together pretty well because you
Cleric
can.
is busted.
Cleric is bust. Cleric is so buffed, actually. I think what D&D, I don't know if that's true, but what it feels like what they did with Cleric in 5th edition is that that there was always the complaint, I don't want to play the Cleric, that's the healer, and I don't want to play the Cleric. And Wizards of the Coast thought, okay, just make the Cleric really strong, so he has to be the healer.
Well, the cleric is more like, because I can follow all these different gods, they all serve a different purpose. And therefore, I can be whatever the fuck I want. I can be a frontline fighter if I feel like it. I can be a spellcaster, a spellslinger. I can even heal if I really want to.
Yeah. And there's so many subclasses of the cleric that you pretty much can fill every slot in the party with one.
Yeah. A good one is Forge Cleric, Life Cleric.
Light cleric.
Yeah, Life Cleric and then let's see, War
What-
Cleric, and the Zeal one, the one about lightning and shit.
Oh, you've got.
And then you got
You've got so Cleric of Arcana, Death, Forge, Grave,
Yeah,
Knowledge,
but-
Life, Light, Nature,
Like we said, you can pretty
Order.
much fill every group in the place in the party.
well,
Nature,
Grave
Order,
Cleric go
Peace,
Burr with
Tempest. Tempest.
Yeah, damage
Tricky.
of Grave
Grave-
Cleric damage output of Grave Clerics is hilarious.
the best combo.
Tempest.
Hold person, channel divinity, smack them with inflict wounds at maximum level. They die.
Mm. Tempest, Trickery, Twilight, and War.
Yeah.
And then there's
Twilight
13
is
more
completely
not shown.
busted. Twilight is weirdly strong
Yeah.
because you can make darkness centered on yourself for I think a minute, right?
Yeah. Something like that.
And there's actually ability that lets you fly in darkness for a minute as a bonus action, and so on.
Cleric of Love, okay.
Is there
Made,
actually-
made ones.
Nope,
Okay.
that is
Yeah.
homebrew.
There it is. Yeah, I was just reading the homebrew ones as well. Cleric of Zeal. Solidarity.
There are so funny cleric ideas that are homebrew.
Cleric of Order. Yeah. Cleric of the City. Cleric of Ambition. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Cleric and Siege.
Yes. Cool.
I'm gonna go on the next item if you guys want to hear it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Draconic Shard.
Okay,
Fuck
so
is
I
that?
take it that's spout like Draconic Shard? Shard. Undead.
Yep,
okay.
space.
Oh yes, we briefly touched up on this last chat. So
Yeah,
yes.
I want to go more into detail
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
do it, mate, do it. So that's what it looks like, everybody. It's a sword with a apparition of a dragon. Fair enough.
Look it up if you don't know what it is, Presley. Real quick.
I actually don't know what this one is.
Well, I'm showing
despite
it on
my
the stream as well, so there you go.
Fizban's book,
despite
so-
my extensive knowledge on the monsters, I say I don't know what the fuck that is.
Gem dragons who wield psychic powers, and when a powerful gem dragon perishes, the force of the dragon's will can force it into a shard. This shard can be infused into
Yeah.
weapons or something special in their horde. And it continues on their dragon's will. A draconic shard is difficult to destroy. Destroying the shard's spectral form or object of the shard inhabits forces the spirit into a form of a cracked gemstone. Only after you destroy the first form goes into another form, and you have to figure out how to destroy that form for it to go to rest. If you can't figure it out, it stays alive. It has a passive perception of 26. It can hide it. It can become an item you guys don't know, which does an extra 1d8 force damage on a hit, and creature gains resistance to psychic damage. It has at will 3 spells: detect thoughts, invisibility, and telekinesis.
That? Sorry about that. I had to come back.
Back up. Okay.
No worries.
It also, yeah, I'm here. I'm still here.
Yeah.
It also has telekinetic rend, which is basically a whole bunch of force damage.
I wouldn't say a whole bunch. It makes 2 of those.
It's average, actually.
Yeah, its average is 15. It's an okay amount of damage.
Okay amount of damage, but its main thought process is basically as an app ally to the players. I would say, not
Yeah.
because it inhabits an object, like not really an ally, but like a hidden creature. Like you get it from a dead dragon's hoard, and the gem dragon's inhabiting one of the magical objects you collected.
Yeah.
It'd be great. I was thinking it would be interesting. That's an interesting plot point. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Have any idea? Have any ideas what you can use it for?
I could more than likely see it being used for, well, the object in general. And it speak to the object is my question.
Yeah, I can telepath. I can use telepathically.
Yeah, feasibly. No, feasibly. Because gem dragons are good boys. It could have been a friend with a humanoid at some point, died,
Yep.
became an item, and somewhere along the generations, it gives it to a person, and that could be your whole backstory. You do have this sentient weapon, which speaks to you.
You could play a warlock.
Yep.
A hexblade
warlock.
warlock. That
Yep.
weapon is a Draconic Shard.
Yep, exactly.
Which is like, you are wielding a magical sword your grandpa gave you, right? Yes! And it helps me to fight evil. And some way along the lines, it's just, oh yeah, that thing is actually a CR17 monster. What?
What? It's an undead? Paladin's
If you
been
have it-
smelling it this whole fucking time. Like, why do you
Paladin.
smell like undead?
Or the moment the cleric actually uses his turn undead,
Turn undead.
and this thing fails its saving throw. Boom!
Oh god.
What happened to my sword? And
Why
it
is
just
my
flies
sword running away?
I think it's actually immune to that. Let me check.
Oh, it is?
No, it's immune to necrotic. Never mind.
But it
Yeah.
has legendary resistances and a good wisdom save.
Yeah. That's why that happens probably later along the campaign.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere in there. And the more 1d8 more force damage on a hit is not actually that much.
No, it's
Which-
actually not.
Which actually is, that's why it's actually, in my opinion, a good item for a
Beginners.
campaign that starts on a higher level, like level 5 or something. That is always
Yeah.
held as an uncommon, as an item that one player has because of his backstory that his grandpa gave him,
Yep.
and so on. Or a character gets it from within the campaign, where you can
Yeah.
do
Of course,
so many hijinks with.
Because of the way most dragons work, I don't know if gem dragons work this way, but I'm pretty sure they do. Because they slowly lose their minds as they go along, this dragon feasibly has lost most of its upper sentience. It's just more or less a
Mm.
I continue to want to protect this person kind of thing.
But the person he knows has died hundreds of years ago, and that's just
Yep.
generations after. That would be
Yep.
fun. That's the family blade. From you,
Yeah.
now take it. It is your birthright. And this thing is just like protecting the person, and whenever it would be fun to have this in a campaign of weaker characters, where it's actually commoner, more often that that the party actually fades,
Yeah.
and that it's somehow whenever they all fade in the same battle, it's like, yeah, guys, what actually happened? I was knocked out. I was also knocked out. I was knocked out. What happened? And people are just, and the enemies are just laying there on the ground, not wounded or anything, but just not there anymore, because from their mind wise, because psychic damage, or no, it's
Yeah.
force damage.
It's force, so it'd be
How is
more like
force?
them.
I'm still
it's-
conflicted with myself. For the most damages, I know how I would feel like they work. for example, bludgeoning damage or poison damage or so on. But force damage is actually a thing. How does force damage work in your opinion?
I play it off as like straight up force. Like you've been hit with something, but you haven't been hit with something. So it racks your body. It does internal damage instead of external damage. It's like psychic damage, but instead of targeting your brain, it targets organs and bones. So it smashes you, and you feel that force. That shit's not fun as internal bleeding sets in, and that's typically how it kills you.
Yeah, pretty much. Imagine you are getting hit by an invisible wall.
Basically.
Yeah.
It's basically bludgeoning, but
magical.
It's magical.
Magical. Oh, budge.
Okay. Hi, Nasha.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh yeah, a thing I just found. There is a sheet of Travelers of the Multiverse, with, for example, Astral Elves now on Unearthed Arcana. And there's the thing I found in it. Giff. They are making Giff for D&D.
No. Stop. Elves are gross.
Why?
I just don't like elves.
Oh, elves?
Specifically high elves. It's a long story, but it started off with high elves, and then it's just, racism.
Cool. Let's quickly talk on the positive side, and rather what we like rather than what we don't like.
What I wanted to tell is, in UA they have their Giff as a race now.
Yeah.
Not a Giff, but a Giff.
The hippos.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Giff Yankee. So is it something else?
The hippos.
No. They're big old hippos.
Sorry.
No, it's alright, go ahead.
They're big old hippos, basically, and they're spelled Giff instead of Gith.
Yeah.
Are they hungry?
They are doing astral space piracy with guns and grenades. I wouldn't ask if they are hungry. I would ask if they want to rob me.
Oh.
And
but
their abilities are pretty fun, actually, because they are humanoid. Everything is humanoid, nearly. It feels like. They are medium. They are medium.
Yeah. But so is Alexodon and Goliath.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
I know. They have actually a swimming speed of 30 feet. If they roll a 1 on a melee weapon attack, they can re-roll that attack. They can only do so once per turn. And they have advantage on strength-based ability checks and strength saving throws. And they count as one size larger when determining the carrying capacity and the weight you can push, drag, or lift.
So they're built for physical strength stuff.
Yes. And I feel like they're really fun barbarians.
You already have to be. What?
I prefer the when it comes to the re-rolling, they're not as powerful, of course, as the halflings. Where any time you roll a 1, you just re-roll it.
Yeah, no, it's on damage.
Yeah,
it's on melee weapon damage, not attack rolls. I think. Yeah. No. It is just that you deal a bit more damage.
Or you roll and see if you get more.
What
but
really
kicks in is
the advantage on strength-based checks and saving throws?
Yeah.
That is hilarious, I would say, because it actually gives you advantage, for example, on grappling people.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Next on my list, animated items.
Animated items, so much fun, so much you could do with them. Hundreds of different options, tons of different abilities that you could give them. yeah, there's so much shit you could do with that.
A cursed skull that follows a character about constantly making bad jokes and giving them disadvantage to attack ability checks. Just because it's constantly fucking chatting to him and just making dad jokes.
Hey! Why didn't the skeleton go to the ball? Because he had nobody to go with! And that's the exact voice I'd use for it every time.
You can make it so it's like a cursed skull of a bard.
Yes.
Oh god. And every time you roll a nat 1, it
He
kicks
makes a
off a
joke.
vicious mockery.
Yes.
Oh no!
Torment you. You eternally are tormented.
Yeah. That could be actually a good back story for example, if you are playing a character, and that is actually a funny curse you can have.
Yeah.
I would
With the
actually
haunted
find it
one
funny
background.
if it is not based on you, but centered on you. This effect.
I'm
That-
just sorting out
Yes.
the tags in the Discord, so you chaps all in here are happy for me to tag you up as D&D Monday Night Talkers, yes? So
Yeah,
Yep.
of course.
always...
Not sure I can do every Monday, but I can definitely pop in.
Well, I'll put you on the ping list, so you can always ignore it if you can't make it anyway.
After changing a few settings, I managed to get back in. Every time Discord updates on my desktop, it just changes all the settings, and God knows what
No
happens.
worries. And also to let you know, we're all it's going to be streamed every time. So yeah, say hello to chat
Oh, okay.
as you enter.
Yo.
Alright then, hello, chat.
Yeah, and obviously try and keep it as PG as possible. It is on mature anyway, so don't worry about the odd swear words. But yeah, keep it positive as well. Like we're talking about the things we like rather than what we don't. But obviously we can talk about the things we don't as well. Obviously, and you're welcome to bring topics to talk about. So if there's anything you want to talk about D&D wise, yeah, bring it as a point of talkage. Yes. Cool.
Well, since someone has put one of my character names on my chat icon for some reason, I might as well talk as Notcher, isn't it?
He's
Okay.
back!
Cool.
I missed
Um,
that bugbear. I really missed him because he was the second meat shield in our party. Oh yeah, for everybody who doesn't know, maybe the stream or anything, and Presley, we
Yes.
have a campaign running, and due to some inconveniences in scheduling, it led to Nosher and VG having to drop out of the campaign. We were originally 5. You actually met the other 2, so Gabe and Chris.
Yeah.
That was yesterday. Yeah.
I'm not so much of a meat shield as a meat shredder.
Yeah, and which type of barbarian were you actually?
Basic barbarian. I was the when everyone goes for the what is it called, the totem one?
Wolf bear totem.
Yeah.
Bear.
Well, you can choose all your different. You can choose different totems, but yeah.
But 3rd level
First-
bear totem is just the best.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Kind of liking now that Tash's Cauldron of Everything come out. I'm kind of liking the wild barbarian, where every time you rage, it's just some
Yeah.
like random magical effect happens.
Oh yeah,
That one's fun.
Oh god.
So, broken stuff. Let's go. Let's see. 3 bear barbarian, 11 into a nice quick fighter, and then 7. No, yeah, 6 into paladin. Everybody's opinion on that?
The barbarian paladin fighter is just
Yes.
Yeah. Barbarian
it's just-
fighter paladin is just really good.
Yes. I can make my saves. I'm incredibly tough. and I hit 3 times a turn.
But you know the best way to actually make your saves as a barbarian?
What? Just get good?
Gnomes.
Yeah, gnomes.
I really like the idea of the gnome barbarian because it's so hilarious. Imagine a guy who's 60 centimeters big, just running at you with a maul. I know you
Yes.
technically have this advantage, but that's a place where I say, no, that is so hilarious. You don't.
My gnome character, Grimble Grumble, he was a druid, but he had personality of a barbarian.
Noise.
Oh yes.
But yeah, that 3-player campaign is coming to an end anyway. Next Friday, and then we'll start the Outlaw campaign. So yeah.
Yeah.
Minotaur with a cannon. Let's fucking.
Yeah.
I love that idea. I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about making a artificer, but he got the optional gun like a firearms proficiency rolls.
You would be the third artificer in that campaign, and I like that.
That way I
Yo.
could put the infusions into the firearms. And
Yeah.
just like so I could have a musket that just basically
Does
works like
rapid
a
fire.
semi-auto. Yeah.
Semi-auto musket.
Yeah, exactly. Don't even need to make ammo for it.
What I'm right now
My main
thinking
issue
about-
is it's gonna be the ammo.
What I'm right now thinking is making a walking cane that is actually a double barrel shotgun.
Noise.
Which is pretty much just a lower damage musket with 2 barrels instead of 1. So
Nice.
2 shots.
Noise.
If I log on to Hero Forge quick, I'll bring up the character I made for this artificer, which is a goblin, by the way, female goblin.
Wait, we can't do live streams like right here, right now. So
I just put it in the chat so you can see what she looks like.
okay, better not be the thing that I think it is.
I don't know what you think it is, so I can't really say.
Meanwhile, have you ever guys gone through Waterdeep the Mad Mage?
Nope.
No. You know, there is something hilarious though. My first character, Lizard Folk, of course, because I was dumb. Lizard Folk is okay. But I joined in the middle of Mad Mage, and the first thing that happens, I eat a finger of death. Like, it wasn't even like I did anything. I show up and just eat a finger of death. I'm at 3 HP instantly. And I look at the DM like, why? I'm new to D&D. Why would you do this to me? It was fucking hilarious.
Cool. So that's that. Okay.
Yes.
So
Round of
I've made the Outlaw campaign now. the chat channel. I'm just gonna ping everybody to sign up there, and then I can give tags out, and then yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I just put this.
Oh yeah, no sure. If you are part of this campaign,
I just put the
Chris,
picture in
so-
chat.
yeah, I've seen the character and do it. Come in this campaign because
I might have to help Dan with this campaign because there's so many people who want to join.
I'm currently going for a gunslinger.
Dan,
Yes, my friend.
would you want help with this campaign? Because I'd be willing to help you out with it.
I'm happy for having a co DMs. That's no problem. If you want to do that, you can do that. Do you want to be a player as well, or are you just going to be a co DM?
We can. That's up to you. I just want to see. I'm worried it's going to get overwhelming you with like too many players.
No, don't worry about that. But
And
if you want to,
too many people that are trying to make homebrew firearms.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Misfire
Well,
score 5.
Oh, well,
See, here's
to be
the-
honest,
Here's the thing.
I don't
though.
want to build a homebrew firearm.
No,
I want to use the basic
Yeah.
cannon.
Well, here's
I
the
know.
thing. I don't let myself get overwhelmed because if someone's trying to do something super complicated, I'll give them that's their responsibility to do. You know, and if it comes out to OP and you're launching nukes at people, we're gonna say no to that sort of stuff. But other than that, if it's quick, you know, if you've got a good backstory and you've worked out the mechanics of how it works, that's fine. You know, but yeah. So my focus is on making sure you guys got a good story, a good backdrop, you know, and playing everyone else in the world. You guys play your characters however you want, and that includes your weaponry and things like that. So if you want to have like a steampunk type silence pistol that fires like honeybees at people, go for it. But you tell me how it works and if it actually works, you know. But other than that, I'm not one to limit people, you know.
So
it could be literally the same mechanic as what you know, like a short bow would be, but you've just flavored it as something else, you know. So
I actually want to straight up wield the basic cannon. So the basic cannon, it does 10d6 damage. Thing is it takes 3 actions to fire.
Well, there you go. So that's already balanced for you. So there you go.
all this talk about
Wasn't
cannon.
it 5d10?
No, as I remember it, it's 10d6. Let me actually look that up. I think it's either 10 or 8d6.
Right, the call for the campaign sign up has gone out now. So yeah,
All this talk about cannon makes me want to make a fanfic wizard, and his weapon is head cannon.
nice.
But yeah, I hope to slowly make the weapon better by making it so it takes less actions to fire.
Or you could do it that it takes attacks.
Oh, wait, no. Sorry. It's not. It's 8d10. So it can do 80 damage, but it takes 3 full actions to fire.
You're right. And that actually limits your rage, because if you don't attack in a turn or don't get attacked, you lose your rage.
I will lose my rage quite a lot, but well, probably not. I'll probably be sitting up front with the cannon in their face.
Yeah. Which is also
like,
really funny, just to have this cannon on your arm.
Yeah, I did come up with a class I call the DM's Bane. So you start with the, as I mentioned before, the half thing, which gets the lucky, like you can say you can reroll ones, and then you can take the feat called luck, which lets you 3 times a long rest.
Oh yeah,
reroll anything. And there's a type of wizard. I forget which it is now.
Divination is it? It is.
No, it's not a divination wizard. It's like a time wizard or something like that. So they can kind of make force rerolls because of their time wizard jerkery. So
that is
any
divination.
No, it's definitely called something else.
We will look that up now.
Yeah, I have to look. I think it begins with a C, but it's basically a time wizard. So it's like any time you don't like your role or someone else's role, you can just like force them to re-roll.
You mean Chronergy?
That's
Good lord.
Well, Fate Coins is already in it, yeah. So there you go.
Is it? Do they get the 2?
With that class with the halfling and the lucky feat, you're basically you're gonna make your DM hate you.
See, so
also don't forget to get the amulet, the clockwork amulet, so you can set most rolls to 10.
Well, the thing is, with all of that, like that, this is exactly what the fake coin system does anyway. Gives people a chance to mess with other people's rolls as well, which is hilarious. Yeah, yes.
Actually, the divination wizard gets an ability called Portent. Starting at 2nd level, when you choose the school, glimpses of the future begin to press in on your awareness. when you finish a long rest, roll 2d20 and record the numbers rolled. You can replace any attack roll, saving throw, or ability check made by you or a creature that you can see within one of these foretelling rolls. You must choose to do so before you roll, and you can replace the roll, and you can replace a roll in this way once per turn.
I just think the Chromaturgy one is definitely more of an FU class than the
Yeah,
divination.
I hate energy. To be honest, it's like, why?
Bronze.
Oh yeah, I had to tell Presley we had to tell Presley about the fate coin system.
Oh yeah.
Well, we'll do that in episode 0 of the actual campaign itself.
Okay.
Which is no problem. But yes, any other subjects we want to talk about in the chat? We've got half an hour left.
I've got a question. If I'm going to be starting in this, what level would be starting at?
Again,
Would it be
that's
level 1?
episode 0 type question. 3
Okay.
anyway. 3.
3, okay.
I always start my campaigns at everyone that has level 3 because you've been living in the world for a while. Yeah.
Homebrew
2 of my
monsters.
characters have, but they've just been living their best life. Like
Exactly.
one campaign
Exactly.
one campaign, because of the change of job, I had to abandon, and the other one just failed and didn't start. So,
but yeah,
I got two
generally,
characters
I'd
out
start my
there.
campaigns with level 3. You have access to a magic item, make it a good backstory, and it could be pretty much whatever. Yeah.
That's where I truly struggle. Backstory and lore, because I'm a horrible writer.
No worries, my friend. I've actually got inbuilt systems for that anyway. So yeah, don't worry
I'll
about
save
that.
all my questions for session 1 then.
Yep. Session 0 is the questions thing.
Session 0, that's it. Session 0.
Session 0 is the setup and getting your tokens ready and getting your guys ready to roll for session 1. So yeah, no worries. But
okay.
yes, and for those who are like, is it going to be combat based or roleplay? Both, half and half. I'm going to try and keep it balanced between the two. Yeah. Other than that, yeah, we'll see who signs up and get people going. And Gabe, you're always welcome to be co-DM or help anyway. Okay, but usually I'll get people to look after their own characters. And general rule of thumb is obviously characters don't know what players know, if that makes sense. I as players you can ask whatever you want, but as characters you won't know certain things, and it's up to you to determine which.
That is truly an issue for a player DM because I know most of the stat lines.
Exactly. So as you go into playing the player, forget it. As your character. So player, you can know it all, but as a character, pretend you don't. Yes. And we keep a strict eye on that. If someone's like, oh, my character does this because it's gonna fire poison at you. No, that's nope. Unless your character has actually had extensive knowledge of fighting this said creature,
Well, I've got definitely ideas about my character, but again, we'll discuss that in 0.
It's gonna be fantastic. But yes, I'm looking forward to this outlaw campaign. It's gonna be good. Any other subjects that you don't normally get to talk about outside of games, things, D&D related?
Well, have you heard of did we ever finish to talk about the animate objects or?
Animate objects are fun. That was the consent between all of us. And
so
many.
other subjects that you can bring to the D&D talks is how did you guys get into D&D? So how did you guys get into D&D? We'll start with Tim, and then we'll go to Gabe, and then we'll go to so for the people who are watching, who are the other two who've joined? Because you've joined without introduction. So who is the other two that joined?
Okay, well, I'm Crust Modifier. I have played the character of Nosha and also KB.
Yep.
in these campaigns, and like before times before the pandemic, I was
Before times.
we was like I was a character called Grimble Grumble,
Yeah.
but then that campaign got stopped by the pandemic a couple of years ago.
It happens.
So
yeah. No
that's
worries.
another character I just have floating around in this world
Brilliant.
because nothing was resolved.
And what do you go by for everybody?
Yeah, you crest modifier. It's a reference to the comedian Spike Milligan.
Okay. Well, we'll go with modifier then. But yes.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And the last chap in the chat, who are you?
Oh, I'm Presley.
Yeah, Presley. And yeah, cool.
Nope.
Brilliant. Okay, so we'll go. So we'll go with Tim. How did you get into D&D? And then we'll go Gabe, modifier. Gabe, modifier, and Presley. So yeah, go. Go.
So, how I got into D&D is, I pretty much just first I was here in Berlin. I was on a like board game convention.
Mm-hmm.
Where I just heard that where I just got met some people and so on, and I heard much about board like pen and papers also, and I've already heard of them before, and it was like, okay, it sounds interesting. Let's look what that is, and that's pretty much it. It's a short version because there's a bunch of things between it. And I started with D&D nearly right before the pandemic, and that's why I most often play online. By now also with friends and so on, but mostly online.
Cool.
Yeah. That's it, pretty much.
Nice. Cool. So, Gabe, how did you get into D&D?
My friends actually wanted me to try to start a DM because all my friends wanted to try D&D.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to start a DM. And oh my gosh, I was terrible. I was the first GM and I had no experience and no video experience. I just went with the flow and I had no idea what I was doing.
Nice.
But I really liked making up a world and doing stuff, so I kept trying and trying. Eventually, I started trying online and actually started learning how to make an entertaining story without being random chaos.
Nice.
And that's where I basically started playing on a different server.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Dan, and then I joined this server.
Nice.
And then through multiple events, I met many different people for different servers.
So good. Nice. Okay. So modifier, how did you get into D&D?
Okay, I've always known about D&D at the back of my mind,
Mm-hmm.
for years.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that kind of brought it to like, oh, this is something I really want to try. There's this YouTuber called Dawn Somewhere. They made My Little Pony videos, like G4 My Little Pony videos.
Okay.
But then they started making some videos about some of the previous fun things they've had and done, and they started talking about a campaign they used to run, called the Skellington campaign, and it just the way he described it, it's just like it just sounded like a fun time overall. It wasn't even a like standard D&D campaign. Everyone apparently was peed off of him because he didn't use the stats from the monster manuals. He just literally made everything up out of whole cloth.
Nice.
And so it just I thought it leads kinds of like the kind of exploits they got into just. Just definitely sounded fun. So I started. I live here in Swindon, so I just started going out to the. I think it was called the Brunel Nights or something like that. When we meet up on Wednesdays in the Brunel Centres. So I started doing one shots there, and then that's how I met Dan, and that's also how I come to the group that I regularly play with. We've been playing for about 3 or 4 years now.
Been playing a while.
So I got these couple of. Sometimes I've been played with Dan, and I often play with this other group, and that's basically how I got into the Dungeons
D&D.
and Dragons
Nice.
properly.
Cool. And Presley, how did you get into D&D?
Well, it's actually quite a funny story. I initially started with Magic. Started playing Magic for a while.
Magic
Got
the
pretty good at it.
Gathering,
And yeah, I'm still recovering.
Yes.
But I was losing horribly. I had such a bad night. And one of my little brother's friends is in the shop, and I'm so confused why he's in here. He invites me to D&D, and it just sets off from there.
Nice.
I love the game. I've got a passion for it, and I can't go a week without playing at least one game.
Good. Good.
I'm hooked.
Yes. Excellent.
But yeah, I've just been playing for about 5 years.
Yeah.
I play it so much that I've memorized most stats and most things.
Nice.
It's been a long journey, and it's been a lot of fun.
Nice.
But Helping Hand was the one who invited me here.
Nice. Wow. Welcome. And yeah, so myself. Yeah, that's a sentence. Anyway, so Dan, that's me. I got into it by basically I did a lot of Warhammer when I was younger, like to escape the real life, you know. Got into Warhammer, and then I went to a lot of like events for Warhammer, so like meeting up with people in massive halls, like town halls and stuff. And then there was a table over in the corner, and I'm like, oh, what's that? That's not Warhammer. Wandered over, and they're like, oh yes, this is D&D. Come and sit down. It kind of always starts with that random invitation to sit at the table and go, yes, roll these dice. That's your character. Go for it. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then they're like, yes, if you want to like be a player, this is the one book you need. So they handed me like a player book, and then they're like, but if you want to be a dungeon master, read all of these. And I'm like, whoa, it's a big game. But the thing that captured me was it was people around the table were of all ages, all sexes, whatever. It doesn't matter, because you're playing your character, you know? And it's just the escapism I was looking for. And then, fast forward to making our own channel and making our own world. How Mythos of Ithos came to be, that's the channel that we're all playing in. So this is our homebrew world. So basically, fast forward to completing my first campaign with the first 9 players. They all got to level 20, god tier level. And it's like, okay, you can't really throw anything at the 9 level 20s. They kind of walk through things at that point. And then they're like, okay, so what do we do? What do we do now? What's the next step for level 20 characters? And we're all kind of like, well, there's not really much to do with that, except make our own world. Yes. So then we ended up making the first 9 gate guardians, first 9 gates basically, and these are so in the world of Mythos of Ithos, these gates are basically gates to other worlds, to different worlds. They all have different themes attached to them, depending on which of the 9 players that set up the first gates of them. And then it expanded from there. So basically, people can come through these different portals or get contacted by them, and then yeah. So that's the story of both how I got into D&D, and the creation of Mythos of Ithos. So even the name, it's the mythology of Ithos, which is an element that we've come up with. Ithos is the element of imagination. So these are our stories of our imagination, and everyone who's involved and gets involved, basically, it's our stories. So, yeah. There we go. Yes. But, so we'll probably wrap up the talk. We're wrapping up the talk. Is there any last words of anything
Hi, Jack.
Nice. And basically, so from here till Friday, so Friday night, same sort of time, is when we do our Dungeons and Dragons. So what we'll do is we'll finish up the campaign 6, and then obviously let everyone know about the new campaign starting. And then literally the following Monday, so yeah, literally the next Monday, we'll be talking, obviously do another talk like this. And then the following Friday will actually be session 0 of the new campaign. So that's...
I'm going to have to come up with a voice.
Yep, so that's the order of how we do it. And yeah, so anyone's welcome to join us for each of those. I'll ping everybody as much as possible. But yeah, other than that, we will see everybody next Friday. Yeah, next Friday for the wrap-up of the campaign 6. So, yes. Yeah, and thank you everybody in the chat for, well, talking. And thank you everybody in my Discord for turning up for the talk as well. Can't really talk on my own. Well, I guess I can, but seems a bit lonely. But yes, so yeah, we'll see everyone on Friday. Have a good week, and yeah, D&D, woo, rocks. All right, see you later, everybody.
See you later.
Thank you for watching. And please comment, like, and subscribe. I enjoy reading through the comments. Until we see you next time. 3, 2, 1, and we're out.